The staging area is a gravel lot behind Fellowship Missionary Church on Dolly Parton Parkway, chosen for one reason. It sits exactly 8 minutes from the first 3 target addresses. At 4:47 a.m. on Monday, May 4th, 2026, Supervisory Deportation Officer Daniel Hoke, a 17-year veteran of Homeland Security investigations, transferred to enforcement and removal operations the previous fall, passes a stack of manila folders down the line of vehicles. Each folder contains a photograph, a last known address, an A-file number, and a single-page threat assessment. 42 agents drawn from the Knoxville, Charlotte, and Atlanta field offices review the folders in silence. 2 Border Patrol BORTAC operators, brought in for high-risk entries, check their carbines against dashboard lights. The operation has a name, Mountain Shield. It has a budget line, $2.3 million drawn from the fiscal year 2026 Enforcement and Removal Operations Supplemental. It has a target list of 214 names, generated over 11 weeks by intelligence analysts working out of the Knoxville sub-office on Middlebrook Pike. And it has a legal spine. Administrative warrants issued under 8 U.S.C. Section 1226, criminal warrants under 8 U.S.C. Section 1326 for prior removals, and a handful of judicial warrants signed by a federal magistrate in the Eastern District of Tennessee. The first knock lands at 5:04 a.m. at a double-wide on Boyd's Creek Highway. The target is a 38-year-old Guatemalan national with a 2019 removal order and 2 DUI convictions. He opens the door in a T-shirt, sees the raid jackets, and steps outside without a word. His wife, a U.S. citizen, stands in the doorway holding a toddler in Paw Patrol pajamas. Cuffs on. Miranda not required. This is a civil arrest. Into the van. 8 minutes start to finish. Team 1 moves to the next address. By 7:30 a.m., the sun is over Mount LeConte, and the operation has logged 19 arrests across Sevier and Cock counties. The rhythm is clinical. Approach, knock, identify, detain, document, transport. The transport vans shuttled detainees to a temporary processing site inside a leased warehouse off Winfield Dunn Parkway, where contracted medical staff from a company called Loyal Source Government Services conduct intake screenings. Fingerprints go through IDENT/IAFIS. Biometrics confirm identity. Detainer paperwork gets generated on the spot. The scale is deliberate. ICE has not run a rural sweep of this size east of the Mississippi in nearly a decade. The last comparable operation, a 2019 raid on 7 Mississippi poultry plants, arrested 680 workers in a single day, but focused on industrial work sites. Mountain Shield is different. It targets private residences, gas station parking lots, construction sites, and the back of house at hotels along the parkway. It is designed to reach into the invisible economy of the Smokies, the workers who clean the cabins, cook in the pancake houses, roof the new subdivisions, and disappear into single-wide rentals tucked behind ridge lines. By Monday afternoon, word has traveled. A restaurant owner in Pigeon Forge sends his kitchen staff home at 2 p.m. A framing crew in Gatlinburg walks off a job site on Ski Mountain Road. Parents pull children out of Sevierville Primary at the 3 p.m. bell and do not return them Tuesday morning. Superintendent Dr. Tony Ogle later confirms that attendance in 3 elementary schools drops 34% within 48 hours. The information moves faster than the vans. By late Monday, a Facebook group called Smoky Mountain Community Watch, created in 2019 to share deer sightings and lost dog posts, has become a real-time raid tracker. Members post license plate numbers, vehicle descriptions, and street corners where Tahoes have been spotted. One post at 1:47 p.m. warns of a checkpoint at the intersection of Wares Valley Road and Highway 321. The post is wrong. There is no checkpoint, only a broken-down transport van, but it is shared 2,400 times before dinner. A parallel WhatsApp chain, entirely in Spanish, reaches an estimated 4,000 phones across 3 counties by Tuesday morning. ICE analysts monitoring open-source channels flag the group, but take no action. Suppressing it would only push the network somewhere they cannot see. The complications begin on day 2. A Honduran man named Wilmer Alvarez Reyes runs from agents at a car wash on Chapman Highway and is tasered against a chain-link fence. He goes to LeConte Medical Center with a scalp laceration. That triggers a use-of-force review, which pulls 2 agents off the line for 4 hours of paperwork. At a mobile home park in Newport, a target's father, a 71-year-old lawful permanent resident with a pacemaker, collapses during the arrest. Paramedics stabilize him on the porch. He survives. His son is transported anyway. Now consider the logistics problem no one talks about. The nearest dedicated ICE detention facility is Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia, 267 miles south, operated by Core Civic, capacity 1,752. Stewart is already at 94%. The overflow plan routes detainees to Etowah County in Alabama, Irwin County in Georgia, and, for female detainees, a 96-bed unit at the Bradley County Jail in Cleveland, Tennessee, under an existing 287G agreement. Transport is by Geo Group prisoner buses. 3-point shackles, standard. 1 bathroom stop per 200 miles. By Tuesday night, 51 arrests. By Wednesday, 78. The intake warehouse smells like industrial floor cleaner and body odor and the metallic tang of adrenaline. Detainees sit on plastic chairs bolted to a temporary plywood floor. They are handed a 2-page notice, Form 1286, Notice of Custody Determination, in English and Spanish. Most have not slept. Some have not been allowed to call a family member because the standard protocol permits 1 call after intake, and intake is running 6 hours behind. Enter the lawyers. On Wednesday morning, a Knoxville immigration attorney named Rebecca Longoria, 44 years old, 3 kids, a solo practice above a barbershop on Central Street, files an emergency habeas petition in the Eastern District of Tennessee on behalf of 9 detainees she has been unable to locate for 30 hours. The Southern Poverty Law Center dispatches 2 staff attorneys from Atlanta. A hastily assembled coalition called Smoky Mountain Rapid Response begins staffing a hotline out of a Presbyterian church basement in Maryville. By Thursday, the hotline has logged 340 calls. The obvious question: how does ICE know where to knock? The target packets come from 3 data streams. First, Secure Communities matches. Any local arrest anywhere in the county triggers an automatic biometric check against DHS databases, and hits generate detainer requests. Second, worksite intelligence gathered by HSI during unrelated investigations. Third, and this is the piece that catches local officials off guard, a data-sharing agreement with the Tennessee Department of Safety that allowed analysts to cross-reference driver's license applications with prior removal orders. That third stream produced 61% of the target list. Think about what that means. A man who applied for a state ID in 2022, believing he was complying with a state law that required it, effectively placed his own name on a target packet 3 years later. Sevier County Sheriff Michael Hodges holds a press conference Wednesday afternoon on the steps of the county courthouse in Sevierville. He confirms that his deputies were not involved in the operation, were not notified in advance, and learned about it from the same 911 calls everyone else did. He says the words, "We were not consulted," 4 times in 11 minutes. A reporter asks whether he supports the operation. He pauses. He says, "That's a federal question." He walks back inside. Inside the courthouse, a different scene is unfolding on the second floor. The Sevier County Clerk's office has stopped taking walk-in appointments for marriage licenses and property recordings because the waiting room has filled with a different kind of visitor.
Wives, mothers, cousins carrying folders of documents, birth certificates, mortgage payments, children's report cards, tax returns going back 6 years, hoping that if they can just prove their husband or son is a good person on paper, someone in a uniform will listen. The clerk, a woman named Sherry Husky, who has held the job since 2011, later tells a reporter she counted 43 such visitors in a single afternoon. None of them were in the right building. There is no right building. The nearest immigration court is in Memphis, 391 miles west. On Wednesday evening, a complication ICE did not plan for. A Guatemalan woman named Marisol Chunchico, arrested that morning at a housekeeping shift at a Pigeon Forge resort, tells a processing officer she has an 8-year-old daughter alone in an apartment in Sevierville. The daughter, a U.S. citizen named Emily, has been sitting in a locked apartment since 6:15 a.m. It is now 7:40 p.m. The officer radios a supervisor. The supervisor radios Hoke. Hoke authorizes a welfare check. Sevier County deputies find the child asleep on the couch with the television on. She's placed with an aunt in North Carolina 40 hours later. Her mother is already on a bus to Georgia. This is the part of the operation that never appears in the after-action report. The count of children left in apartments, the count of car seats found still buckled in driveways, the count of voicemails that will never be returned. ICE policy under the current administration permits arrests of parents of U.S. citizen children when the parent has a final order of removal or a prior criminal conviction. Marisol Chunchico had both, a 2016 removal in absentia and a 2021 conviction for driving without a license. On paper, she is a textbook target. Off paper, she is Emily's mother, and Emily is now living in a spare bedroom in Waynesville with an aunt she has met exactly twice. By Thursday morning, the arrest count reaches 94. The pace slows. Not because agents are tired, though they are, most working 16-hour shifts on 4 hours of sleep in comfort inns along I-40, but because the target list is thinning. The easy arrests came first, the addresses that were current, the people who answered doors, the workers who showed up to shifts. What remains is harder. Targets who have gone dark, moved in with cousins, driven to Charlotte, boarded buses to Houston. The intelligence unit retasks. Analysts spend Thursday afternoon working license plate reader hits against known associate addresses. Thursday night brings the raid that will become the operation's defining image. A 3-team stack hits a duplex on Old Newport Highway at 9:47 p.m., later than protocol prefers, but the target, a Salvadoran man with an MS-13 gang validation on his file, has been hard to find. The BORTAC operators go in first. The target is in a back bedroom. He surrenders without resistance. On the way out, an ICE videographer, embedded to produce content for public affairs, captures 38 seconds of footage. The man in a white undershirt, hands cuffed behind his back, walked past a Christmas tree still standing in the living room in May. That clip runs on cable news for 6 consecutive days. What the clip does not show is the second bedroom of that duplex, where a 19-year-old woman named Katerin, the target's girlfriend, 6 months pregnant, in the country on a pending asylum claim from 2024, is questioned for 90 minutes about her immigration status. Her paperwork is in order. She is not detained. But when agents leave at 11:32 p.m., she is sitting on the edge of the bed in a nightgown, alone in a duplex whose front door will not close properly because it was breached with a ram. She calls the Smoky Mountain Rapid Response Hotline at 11:41 p.m. A volunteer named Anna drives from Maryville
and arrives at 1:14 a.m. with a bag of groceries and a folding chair to sit in the living room until sunrise. This detail appears in no government document. Friday, day 5, is scheduled to be the final push. Hoke has authorization to extend through the weekend if necessary, but the field offices are pulling agents back for regular duties in Charlotte and Atlanta. The morning briefing is short. 12 targets remain on the priority list, 16 more on the secondary list. Weather is a factor. A spring storm is moving in from the west, expected to hit the ridges by 2 p.m. The last arrest of Mountain Shield happens at 1:22 p.m. on Friday, May 8th, at a Marathon gas station on Highway 411 in Kodak, Tennessee. The target, a 29-year-old Mexican national with a 2023 illegal re-entry conviction and a pending Georgia detainer, is fueling a 2007 Ford F-150 when Team 3 rolls in. He sees them. He raises his hands before the doors close on the Tahoes. Cuffs, van, warehouse, bus. Done. The final tally: 117 arrests, 92 men, 25 women, 41 from Mexico, 38 from Guatemala, 19 from Honduras, 11 from El Salvador, 4 from Nicaragua, 2 from Ecuador, 1 each from Colombia and Venezuela. 63 had prior removal orders. 41 had criminal convictions ranging from DUI to aggravated assault. 13 had no criminal history and no prior contact with immigration authorities, collateral arrests in ICE terminology, made because they were present at a target location and could not establish lawful status. Rebecca Longoria's habeas petition is heard the following Tuesday.
The magistrate denies it as moot. 7 of her 9 clients have already been transferred out of the district. The 2 remaining are moved to Stewart within 48 hours. She files new petitions. She will file petitions for the next 14 months. The economic aftershock is measurable within a week. A cabin rental company in Gatlinburg reports 40% of its housekeeping staff has not returned. 3 roofing contractors in Sevier County halt operations on active jobs. A poultry processing plant in Cock County, not raided, but staffed heavily by workers connected to those who were, runs at 60% capacity for the rest of May. The Sevierville Chamber of Commerce, in a carefully worded statement, notes significant disruption to the regional hospitality labor market, without using the word ICE once. Here is the sentence this script has been building toward. The operation worked exactly as it was designed to work, and that is precisely why it will be studied not as an accident, but as a template. Mountain Shield's after-action report, portions of which are later released through a FOIA request filed by a Knoxville alt weekly, describes the operation as highly successful and recommends replication in 3 additional rural corridors: the Ozarks in Arkansas, the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia, and the Finger Lakes region of New York. The report notes that rural operations offer reduced media saturation, limited legal infrastructure, and favorable operational tempo. Translation: fewer cameras, fewer lawyers, faster arrests. Of the 117 detained, 94 are removed from the United States within 90 days. 9 win stays of removal on appeal. 6 are released on bond averaging $12,500. 8 remain in detention at the 6-month mark, cases pending. The 13 collateral arrests, the ones with no criminal history, produce 11 removals. 2. Both parents of U.S. citizen children under the age of 5 receive prosecutorial discretion and are released with monitoring devices. Both wear ankle bracelets manufactured by BI Incorporated, a subsidiary of the GEO Group. The monitoring contract is worth $2.2 billion over 5 years. Emily Chun Siko, billion, over 5 years.
Emily Chunsiko begins third grade in Waynesville, North Carolina in August. Her aunt enrolls her under a temporary guardianship arrangement. Her mother, Marisol, is deported to Guatemala on June 19th on ICE Air Flight N225AX, a Boeing 737 operated under contract by Global Crossing Airlines out of Alexandria, Louisiana. Mother and daughter speak once a week on WhatsApp. The time difference is 2 hours. Emily does most of the talking. Daniel Hoke, the supervisory officer who traced the red line on the laminated map at 4:47 a.m. on May 4th, receives a commendation and a $4,800 performance bonus. He is reassigned in September to lead planning for a similar operation in the Shenandoah Valley. His new staging area is a gravel lot behind a shuttered furniture warehouse in Harrisonburg, Virginia. The lot sits exactly 9 minutes from his first 3 targets. 4:47 in the morning. That was the time the convoy pulled out of the church lot in Sevierville. It is also, adjusted for time zones, the moment when Marisol Chunsiko steps off the deportation flight in Guatemala City, blinking into a sun she has not seen in 11 years. Somewhere in Waynesville, an 8-year-old girl is asleep with the television on. The operation is over. The template is finished. And somewhere in a gravel lot in Virginia, another convoy is being fueled.